beginning of a live stream where I talk about how we're live and just open up to make sure that we actually are. It also gives people a chance to come in. There's always, I feel like one of these days, I gotta come up with a better way to actually start a live stream. There we go. I see it here now. All right. I'm just going to bring that up in case anyone's watching and has anything they want to say, because hello, my name is Devin Shears, even though it says on LinkedIn. I don't know if it says that on the live stream or not, but I'm not. My name is Devin Shears. I'm the Director of Programming Communications for the Nickel. We have another chat with a filmmaker for our Film of the Week series here today. The film of the week for this week is C Sharp and Desuspended, directed by Tamara Segura, and which is free to watch over at nickelfestival.com until end of tomorrow night, which is Tuesday. And so, yeah, so I thought I'd have a little chat here with Tamara to talk a little bit about the film, and because it's I think a really, really lovely piece. So hello.
Hi everyone.
Oh, I think you're muted there.
Hi Devin. Am I? No.
I don't know. It doesn't say that you are.
Not on my end. No.
Oh, I think you're muted there. Oh, it's my fault. It's a thing that I did. I don't know.
Okay.
I muted. So because the live stream, I muted the whole computer. This is very smart. So doing a great job with the tech here today. Hello. Sorry about that.
No problem at all.
Great. Okay, so I've seen this film a few times now and was really excited to share it again because I think it's a really, really beautiful film. And I guess right off the bat, maybe you just talk a little bit about what led you to this story, about which, if for people who haven't seen it, it's about this grandmother who leaves her minimum security prison that she's currently doing a stint in to see her grandson perform classical guitar. So yeah, what led you to this story?
The characters are inspired on my own grandmother and my brother. They live together, and they have a very particular relationship. They are very loving towards each other, and they have this like silly dynamic where they really rely on each other, and at times it feels like she is the teenager and he is the adult. So that was the inspiration for the characters, even though like my grandmother, she's not in prison. She hasn't been in prison. My brother is not a guitar player, but it was like the nature of the characters. That's where it came from. And then the other parts, it was really the process of creation, being inspired by learning guitar. I was at the time learning how to play the guitar, so that filter into the story at some point, and yeah, that was the essence.
Do your brother and grandmother have any relation to are they musical people at all? Do they play guitar now?
Not at all, but at some point my brother was graduating from his from university in Havana, and my grandmother lives in Holguin, and this is like 10 hours away by car, and she decided that she would go to his graduation, whatever happened, and she made it by herself to Havana, which is quite like it can be very challenging in a place like Cuba where transportation is not really that easy, but she was determined to be there that day. So yeah, that's the inspiration for it. But then no, they are not musical at all.
What was it like, so you were like, so writing these characters that are obviously so close to you personally, what was it like, creating those characters then with the performers after? Did they bring something new to it, or were you really trying to sort of like capture that specific kind of relationship that your brother and your grandmother have?
Yeah, I think you kind of present the skeleton of what your characters want to feel like, and then once you have specific performers, they really bring the breath and the flesh and the blood into the character. And I was so lucky to work with Didi. Oh my God, his name is like escaping me right now.
Andrew.
Daniel is the character. Andrew is the actor. Sorry about that.
But shout out to Andrew. He worked for the Nickel for us this summer. So
hello, there you go. Hello, thank you so much. I was really lucky to work with him. He was perfect for the character. He brought a lot of warmth and care and this like very loving presence on screen. and Didi had this like warm but a bit mischievous kind of attitude that also matched the character so well. And I mean, we had to really work around them because they were not exactly the ages that I was going for. Like Didi is much younger than my grandmother, like by far, and so we had to do like quite the work with makeup and wardrobe and trying to mold the story in a way that it would be realistic, that she could play as his grandmother. But I knew from the casting that I wanted to work with them. They felt very truthful. So I said, okay, I'm going with them, and then we'll work the details.
No, it's a really in such a short film, it feels like such a loving and full relationship, and I think that's like testament to power of your writing and directing, but also their performances. Another thing that kind of struck me when I was watching the film the other day is that it's such a tender, warm, loving, funny film. But it's about a prisoner, like someone who's in the criminal justice system, which I guess we don't see that often. And so I am a little curious about what kind of led you, what brought you to that decision to turn, like you said, your grandmother is not in prison. What made you decide to make that character choice?
I just always picture her as a rebel in her own way, because I believe my grandmother is, in her own small ways, she's a rebel. And I think at the time I had been reading a lot about activism in among like seniors, and how some of them, they've been brought up to prison for like vandalizing and an oil kind of like business out in BC. And I just felt like this rebellious attitude could have had consequences for the character, but she was still, she was happy for her decisions, and she was standing by her values. And there is also a very striking quote from Gloria Steinem that says that only women become more radical with age. So just these little elements that were like, okay, what if she had been protesting something and she broke inside like some sort of site that she wasn't allowed, like a hydro site. So it was just part of creating the character and imagining how she was and why. And it was like, she could be, not in like a real criminal, like she murdered somebody, but like a minimal security prison. She definitely did something that is not legal, but that wouldn't necessarily turn her into a negative character at all.
No, certainly not. And it's just, I think, we have there is such a perception about people in the criminal justice system, and it's so easy to dehumanize them. And that this is a film filled with humanity, I think makes it something really lovely. Kind of zooming out more broadly across your different films. You also, I know you do a lot of documentary work as well, and I'm just curious, kind of what your feelings are going back and forth between fiction and documentary. Like, how do you approach them? Are there similar ways that you approach them, or are they just kind of like two different processes altogether?
They are, to me, I mean, in the end, they are still a narrative process, but I feel like that similarity comes across more during the editing part of documentary filmmaking. While I'm doing documentary, I always say I'm not directing, God is directing, and I'm just like a vehicle to make that happen, because it's the relationship with your subjects is really something you cannot force. Whereas with fiction, you just tell the actor, this is your line, and you work it out and, make it your own line, but this is where we're going for. This is the intention. And with documentary, it's more delicate, especially documentaries around sensitive issues. It's really, it happens on site. There is not much planning that I go around. But yeah, it's been interesting navigating from one world to another. In the end, it's really like about telling stories. But while in the production phase, I feel they are very different. And yeah, I feel I am a different director. depending on what project I'm working on.
And it's this film's from a couple of years ago, and Becoming Labrador was after this one as well, right? That your documentary, or was that before this? Sorry,
I think.
Yeah.
No, I think it came out probably later, but it had been it went into production earlier. Mm-hmm. We started Becoming Labrador around 2015. It was just a very lengthy process, and it didn't got released till 2018. But in my like timeline of projects, it comes earlier, even though it was released later.
Well, I know, because that's available on CBC Gem, right? Becoming Labrador.
No, C# is CBC Gem. Becoming Labrador, it's on the NFB website.
NFB website, yes. Mm-hmm. So, everyone should go check out those work. Do you have anything else coming up? Been working on stuff during COVID times, or?
Yeah, well, I finished my thesis film for York University. It's called Father Figures, and it's a more experimental essay film type kind of film that I quite like, and that's doing the rounds at the festivals, and I'm working on a feature film, like fiction, that I've been developing for quite some time right now. So I'm like, next year it's the year, and I'm also working on another documentary with the NFB. So busy and excited.
Well, everyone should be excited to check out that work. I think you're such a talented filmmaker, and we're so grateful to be able to show this film, and hopefully more to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And it's a big pleasure to share my films and talk to you and the Newfoundland audience. I mean, I know this has been seen by more than the Newfoundland audience, but specifically Newfoundlanders, because it's a film that was made there with local actors, local crew. I love that dynamic.
Yes, and I think it really comes through well. So if you're watching this right now and you still haven't seen C# Desuspended, you can head to nickelfestival.com, watch it there. But also, you could also watch it CBC Gem after that. But if it's before Tuesday, you should watch it on our website, and just Becoming Labrador also on the NFB website as well. So Tamara, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you, David.
And I hope everyone has a nice afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.